How's everyone doing tonight? I appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy evening to come out and check out the Shanko and Spence show. I'm Spence, and Shanko, he's probably off to bed right now. We'll probably catch up with him tomorrow. I appreciate you guys watching the Tom Coughlin reaction today. It was a busy day for Giants fans and breaking down Tom Coughlin. But tonight I couldn't help but shed light on a story that is Johnny Manziel going to Las Vegas last Saturday. And the story is absolutely ridiculous because Johnny Football, not only did he miss out on Sunday's football game altogether, but Manziel also happened to show up and be an alter ego. His alter ego, and this is all according to ESPN Las Vegas, was Billy. And he basically wore a wig and he wore glasses and a hoodie and snuck into a Vegas club and was at a casino. And at a casino, you're not supposed to take pictures or even be you're not supposed to take pictures. It's supposed to be private. So Johnny Manziel checked into his injury rehab on Saturday, and I think that the concussion news that he suffered against Kansas City was complete BS. The New York Times reported that he was at practice inebriated. He was drunk at practice. And I do think that it was a cover-up by Cleveland to try to get all of the attention away from Johnny Manziel. So they lied about the concussion because on Monday and Tuesday, that wasn't news at all. But then when they probably found out Manziel was getting messed up and getting drunk before practice, the media's like, okay, let's just, make it about a concussion and let everybody get off Johnny Football completely and just end the season. And it's been such a miserable year. My thoughts on Johnny Football. I'm not a Cleveland Browns fan. It would obviously be different if you relied on Johnny Manziel to turn around the franchise because everybody in Cleveland, after he was selected 22nd, had high aspirations that he would be a franchise quarterback and be the guy. I think Patine handled Manziel completely wrong. You know what you're getting into with this guy. You know that he's a young guy that likes to go out and drink tons of alcohol and have tons of fun. You know that he's not going to be a saint. You know that he's not going to be a Mormon like Jimmer Fredette or Tim Tebow and just not drink any alcohol. So the Browns kind of made their bet with Manziel, and then they acted like Manziel was going to somehow turn into Drew Brees or Nick Foles or Manziel or Tebow or Fredette, like I just mentioned, and the guy's not. Kevin Sumlin handled it perfectly at A&M. He basically said probably to Johnny, I know Johnny's going to consume tons of alcohol during the week, but when we need him on Saturday, the dude's going to come in and play quarterback for us. And for the Cleveland Browns, they tried to reshape the guy. They used such tough love tactics. And Manziel getting sent to rehab was the worst decision the kid could have ever made because as a 21-year-old kid, or Manziel's 22 years old, not having alcohol for the rest of your life is a pretty substantial deal. Even for people that are 25 years old or whatnot that don't like drinking alcohol that much, I mean, saying that something can be permanently taken away from you your entire life, that's a big deal. And people who go to rehab really need to be committed. And I think that if Manziel would have dialed down his alcohol consumption during the season when it mattered, he would have been fine. He would have overcame this media storm. If he, in fact, just went out, had a couple beers, with his friends, invited hot girls to his house instead of always having to go out to the most public of clubs and bars. And again, like having people videotape you while you're drinking and things. I mean, there's a lot of ways that he could have gotten around it. And football is pretty much from September. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, it's September to January because you are not usually the Browns haven't been playing in the postseason. So for Johnny, I know that you have training camp, so I guess it's really July, but there's still times, in July and August when you can go out and have fun times and drink and hang out in Vegas or Miami or wherever you want to go. So for Johnny Football, for him to always have to go to these clubs, there's just certain things that he's doing that are not the wisest of moves if he wants to stay out of the media limelight. You have hot girls come to a place that's convenient and private for you to go to, and you handle it in that capacity. But as a fan, it's fun watching Johnny Manziel. I mean, we're learning a lot about social media through Manziel. Manziel, if he was trolling the media, this is a fantastic job. We're sitting here talking about it. Let's talk about the fun stuff. I mean, how the heck did Manziel get into this Vegas club in the first place? So Manziel posted a picture on Saturday night that he was in Ohio with his dog, and that was kind of like a shot at Mike Pettine saying, you know what? You know what, guys? Everybody wants me to just be at home, just bored, just hanging out with my dog, which guess what? I like to hang out at home with my cats too and just have a relaxing evening from time to time. But for Johnny Manziel just doing that repeatedly, he got tired of it. Obviously, he was doing it as a decoy. Maybe he got one of his friends to post that he was in Avon, Ohio. I don't know how the heck he got his location on his Instagram phone to say that he was in Ohio, taking a picture with his dog while he was out and partying Vegas as Billy Manziel. This Billy Manziel character is just hysterical. The fact that he got up in a wig, got the glasses, hilarious story. I'm sure Manziel had a great time with his friends, and I just think that this 30 for 30 on Johnny Manziel is going to be spectacular. I mean, the whole idea of Manziel leaving town, and then on Sunday when they were calling his phone and he's just like, F this, F the Browns, I'm completely done with Cleveland. That's essentially what Manziel is doing here. He probably turned off his phone, and I think Manziel has to be laughing right now that everybody's discovering this Billy Manziel character in a goatee and wig, in disguise in Vegas. He had to be laughing and he had to be at peace because as Billy Manziel, I mean, he was a guy that could simply live his life without anybody interfering or judging him. And unfortunately, as Johnny Football, you're always going to be under a microscope. But for Billy Manziel, this alter ego to just go out and kind of act with reckless abandon, act like a young kid and not have any repercussions must have been very appealing for Johnny Football himself. And it kind of was an interesting sort of magic trick that Manziel played there. And so Manziel, on Saturday, he attended the appointment. The news was that it was a home game versus Pittsburgh because if he was on the road in Pittsburgh, he would be at the team hotel. That would be even more epic if somehow he got like Austin Davis. If he was at an away game, say the game was in Pittsburgh and he got Austin Davis to cover for him when he went to Vegas or something and he slipped through the cracks, or the Jet flew back to Cleveland if they were playing the Steelers and he was on the sidelines. That would have just been fantastic. But the fact, if it was a road game, Manziel went to Vegas and then still got back for the game, it would have been just incredible if that were the circumstance. But the point is that the guy, his season was over. He had no responsibility pretty much. He's not going to be playing, obviously, as he was ousted by Pettine and the Browns. And Pettine and the Cleveland Browns, they just treated Manziel wrong. You got to let Johnny grow up on his own, go through growing pains, be patient here or there. And the teammates, the media, just everybody in Cleveland, I'm not complaining about the media, but the coach just basically has to treat Johnny Football as just like as an offensive lineman. If an offensive lineman goes out like Joe Thomas or noteworthy offensive lineman goes out and does the same things as Manziel, we wouldn't be talking about it. Rob Gronkowski's the same way. We treat quarterbacks differently. Fact is, if the guy can lead on the field, if he could be in practice and be reliable and play at a high level and be a solid teammate, then you shouldn't be caring if he goes to Vegas and consumes tons of alcohol and acts reckless for an evening, because that's just part of growing up. Now, as a Johnny Manziel guy, I guess I'm going to say a fan of Manziel, certain actions of his are inexcusable. I just think sometimes, it's hard to defend getting drunk before practice, and not being serious at the workplace. At the same time, Cleveland this year's been such a failure. It's kind of hard to keep your motivation. And then sometimes Johnny Manziel, I feel like, is an attention seeker in some particular ways when he goes out. And I feel like he was trolling the media here. So I definitely think that that was certainly his angle with this story. The whole Manziel thing is entertaining. It's not good for his NFL quarterbacking career because I don't think anybody wants to deal with the circus that Johnny Manziel is going to now attract. And the point is, Cleveland dangled him. They didn't give him the keys. They should have started him 2 years ago because Hoyer and McCown are just they're not going to bring any success to Cleveland. So you should have just started with Manziel. And if you relied on Manziel to be a starter every week, then maybe he would actually take pride in the product. And Manziel's, I mean, it's hard to be a backup quarterback when you're used to starting. And as a backup, you have no impact on the game. So that's part of the reason why Manziel felt so hopeless in Cleveland is because nobody really backed him. And Patine, pretty much from the outsider's point of view, this is all outsiders in opinion, Patine didn't back the guy at all. He every single time he messed up, even a little bit, like that Christmas video of his friends drinking and having a good time, who the heck cares? I mean, that's just having fun on Christmas, singing a song and drinking. Point is, Patine, by punishing Manziel at every step and not being more patient with a talent and with a very young kid, it was a horrible match. You need a coach that is simply a player's coach, like a Jason Garrett, like a guy like I think even Rex Ryan would have been more comfortable. Pat Shermer probably would have showed more emotion. There's some coaches in the NFL that could have handled Manziel. I think even Bill O'Brien would understand that going out and having drinks, I mean, is part of life and part of enjoying life. The point is, with Patine punishing Manziel at every step, it's hard to just remove that whole stretch of your life from your persona. And the Browns should have simply said to Johnny, hey, you can party, don't hurt anybody, don't do anything illegal, just drink and have fun like kids, your age might be doing. And come in, work hard, and get W's and take this team to the postseason. And in the games that Manziel played, he came within 4 points of beating Kansas City. He was responsible for 2 out of the 3 wins of the season when they beat the Oakland Raiders earlier in the year. They beat Tennessee. Manziel was the quarterback then. And then I think that they defeated the 49ers. And Manziel, he kept the team competitive. Even in Seattle, he didn't turn the ball over too much. Kansas City, the conditions were horrific. You don't have a lot of sample size. I only think with Manziel, you might have like 7 games of sample size. So unfortunately, with how much drinking, the publicity, with him being 6 foot, not being able to see over the line, not being an exceptional passer, he's not a can't miss talent. By any means. I'd say he's a bottom tier starter. And with that position, I don't really see Manziel having an immediate future now because he's going to probably have to go to Dallas, wait behind Tony Romo. And Dallas has a lot of distractions, and they seem to have guys on their team that go out and Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones can get past that. So I think in the state of Texas for Manziel, he could probably be a backup to Tony Romo. It's not good because he's 3 hours from Tyler, Texas, his hometown, and all his friends that might still be encouraging Johnny to be fun and go out and drink and do things of that nature. It's a tough situation because Cleveland was so far from everything of Johnny. It was the polar opposite where he couldn't drink. He felt he was trapped. He couldn't have any fun. The perfect situation for Manziel would to be at a team where I think Josh McCown actually did help Manziel, but instead of really being treated as if he's going to be an angel the rest of his life, kind of just treat Manziel as like, okay, let's work hard, play hard sort of thing. Sort of do your job during the regular season, and at times let's go out and have some fun if we get some W's. Enjoy ourselves. Don't stay out unbelievably late, but we can go out to clubs, meet hot girls, drink a little bit. And I think that an in-between city, not Dallas where you're going to be partying all the time with all your Texas, friends, and not Cleveland either, where you're totally like in your own world. You don't have any support, and you're pretty much expected to act like a choir boy all the time. There needs to be an in-between with Johnny Football for him as he goes forward. And unfortunately, I don't know I don't think any franchise is willing to give him the keys. So Manziel should look at going to a place where maybe he could play a couple of games next year. I know this year with Indy, even with Tennessee, quarterbacks get hurt. So Johnny, if he have a couple beers, relax, enjoy the off season, but don't go absolutely crazy at all these clubs, and you should be able to at least get an opportunity next year. If he stays a free agent, to kind of come in and help teams if they need a week, because Brandon Weeden did that this year. Freeman got a call. Ryan Mallett ended up back on his feet after missing plane flights in Houston. So that's kind of the Johnny Manziel reaction. Just kind of a hilarious kind of story. As a media member, it's kind of cool to see Manziel go out to the clubs there in a mustache, sunglasses. Totally a crazy sort of story. It's like Catch Me If You Can with Leo DiCaprio going into disguise. It's an unbelievable story that will pick up traction. His 30 for 30 will be great. And as a fan and as a guy that likes talking about Manziel and football, partying, girls, the whole 9 yards, Manziel certainly gives you material on a weekly basis. The kid's not hurting anybody. And right now, the kid is drinking, going through some phases, I guess, in his life. And it's a fun time to watch, that's for sure. And we'll see if the guy he needs to straighten up in instances. He's taking it to the extreme, either choir boy or partying all the time. He needs to have a middle ground where he can go out, have a nice adult beverage, hang out, go to a dance club, be with the right people, be with people that have your best interest, that'll take care of you. Invite hot girls to very private areas. And if he stays out of that limelight and doesn't go full Rob Gronkowski, I think that the guy will be okay. So that's Johnny Manziel, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoy the podcast and subscribe. Appreciate y'all. See ya.